get it started. And we are live with another episode of BS Busters. And well, before we go any further, I just want to let everyone know my PC is currently, well, I put in my new CPU and everything, but something else went wrong with it, so I just took it to a guy to get it fixed for like $50. Um, well, not really cheap actually, because had I taken it to some like initially the guy was gonna charge me 100, but because I spotted him a few months ago, he only he cut off 50. So, but with that being said, we're using my other PC. Um, which lets me use a new GIF for the first part of the thing, which is the BS Buster Bill Duke. You know you done fucked up, right, GIF? Yeah. But before we go any further, let's have everyone introduce themselves, starting with the lady first. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you kind of cut out a little bit. I don't know what Capcom's done, but I'm pretty sure you'll tell us. No, Capcom did not release Streets of Rage. Sega did. Well, actually, Sega via .emu, or it's Sega's IP, and .emu released it along with the other studio that made it. But Kenoshi, go. Literally and figuratively. Wow, that is, and it's also a double pun. So, we're live with another episode of BS Buster. So basically, we're covering some of the missed funk we had Wednesday, if you will. Some of the some of the missing um, some of the missing bits and pieces that we weren't able to get into, namely Elder Scrolls 6 stuff and you know, stuff like that. So without much ado, let's get into it um, with this first little bit of news. So I mean, I guess we gotta. I mean, I guess we can go with Assassin's Creed. First, there was a little bit of news that the new Assassin's Creed is coming out. Um, this one's going to be set in uh, like, well, it's going to be set in early England when the Vikings were basically rampaging and raiding the shit out of it. So, you know, after the Romans, but before you know, England became a major power. So, you know, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you care? I mean, that was pretty cool. I mean, the bigger question is this going to make you actually care about um, Assassin's Creed? Like, is this going to entice you to come back to it? Or get into it if you never were into it in the first place anyway? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Uh, pull a Denzel. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right. I see what you're doing there, my friend. um. All right. Okay. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've tried. Well, I've tried to get into Assassin's Creed. I tried with the original Assassin's Creed. I tried with Assassin's Creed. Uh, well, the first Assassin's Creed was boring to me. Assassin's Creed 2, everyone says that's the good one, and I got it for free off of from Ubisoft, so I might try it. But I mean, Assassin's Creed to me is just a really boring game. I mean, it's not even the graphics; it's just the gameplay is just boring. I mean, to me, it's boring. Um, I know some people are going to be like, but I mean, the story is nonsensical and doesn't make any sense. And well, a game that's supposed to be very story driven. Um, like if like a Mario game, if you really think about it, the story doesn't make sense. But the gameplay kind of overwhelms the lack of sense, you know? You know, and Ubisoft just refuses to give people what they want, which is, a like either do an Assassin's Creed set in feudal Japan where it's ninjas versus assassins, like the Brotherhood, and or either do a modern day Assassin's Creed where maybe one of Abstergo's experiments goes awry and you have a modern day person running around killing people, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood style. That would have been good, but we get none of that. It's like literally, yeah, it's just it's just the same shit, you know. It's I mean this nonsensical story with not interesting characters. Um, I'm not really feeling it. I'm not really feeling Assassin's Creed these days. Never was really that into it anyway, so it's a moot point. So anyway, I guess we can keep it moving to Streets of Rage 4. Yeah. So what do you think about it? 4. Yeah. My only flaw with the game is that your characters move too goddamn slow. Even she's slow. All of them are way too goddamn slow. Like Adam was always kind of slow in the original games. Adam was always kind of slow. Um, what's his name? The black guy who's the black Adam was always kind of slow. But Blaze was kind of fast, and Skate when he was in the game was kind of fast. But god damn, like everyone is slow. I mean, I mean, just I mean, I know in this game Adam's like in his 40s, but he's in really good shape to be in his 40s. So why are you moving so goddamn slow, dude? Do some cardio or something. Um, like I was doing fine in the first level until I got to the boss, and the boss kicked my ass. Not because the boss is OP, but because she has this area attack thing that she does that my character, like, I either had to jump out of the way, but you don't have like a dash jump. Yeah, you still get hit if you land in the area of effect. So, and you don't have a dash jump. Like the dash is only useful as a dash attack, which for Adam is his grand uppa, or as we called it when we were kids, the grand papa, because that's what it sounded like he was saying. Grand papa. It's like, wow, he really likes his grandfather, you know. So that's my only gripe is that your characters move a little too slow. Maybe they'll patch it to where the characters move a little bit faster according to their body type. Because in the original game, Adam was the second slowest. Blaze was the fastest, and the black guy whose name I forgot. No, he was the slowest, but he was the slowest, but he hit the hardest. Adam was relatively well balanced, except he was also kind of slow. And Blaze, she had the weakest attacks, but she was fast. She was the fastest, physically the fastest. But in this game, every character moves like every playable character moves like they had to like they thought they had to pass gas, but when they tried to sneak it out, it was a shark. And now they're trying to move slowly so that it doesn't roll down their pants and make a shitty situation worse. Like that's how they basically move around when they're fighting people. And it's pretty bad. Like I'm like, how could like that's my only gripe with the game. The rest of the game is great. The combo system, like it encourages you to keep your combo up because it boosts your attack. The special attacks are amazing. The art style is great. But man, that physical walking speed is bad. I mean, it is like, hey, let me put it this way: the Final Fight 1 characters move faster than every single playable character in Streets of Rage 4. And Final Fight came out in 1989. I mean, with all this technology, you couldn't make a character that can move faster than that. That's my only gripe against the game. The character's movement speed is too goddamn slow. That's it. I mean, really, that's a very small gripe. Um, that's about it. Yeah. Let's see. So, anything you want to add, Kenochi, before we move on to the next topic? Axel's daughter. Um, yeah, but she has this. I mean, she doesn't really move fast. She just moves faster than the other characters. Like she moves like she has something to do, but I mean, comparatively speaking, but she's really not that fast. She's the skate analog. Except I think skate was more interesting because it made sense that skate was fast because he was on skates. And look, if you're getting your ass kicked by a dude with his hat turned backwards on skates, you deserve that ass whooping. You should just give up thuggery. You should be like, you know what? I don't need to be in this thug game. Why not, man? I got my ass kicked by a black kid with skate punk outfit on, his hat turned backwards, and rollerblades. He kicked my ass while wearing rollerblades. If you get your ass kicked by someone wearing rollerblades, give up the thug life. Thugging is not for you. All right. So keeping it moving. Microsoft Xbox Game Pass bet. All right, so basically, Microsoft now has 10 million Game Pass subscribers, which is what they want. All right. Microsoft, like everyone's like, oh man, the Xbox One X. Yes, the Xbox One X was a resounding failure. All right. Um, but here's the thing: Microsoft doesn't give a shit about devices in people's houses. They want people to use their subscription service. All right, and right now they're in the lead. Okay, and this is what they want. Like Microsoft. I mean, I've said this before. Microsoft doesn't give a shit. Microsoft doesn't care about Xbox One sold. They don't care at this point. Well, I won't go that much. They want to be your subscription. They want you to spend however much you spend. They want to be your Netflix. They want to be your Amazon Prime. Okay. They want to be, if you're spending, $6 a month to get a service, they want to be that. That's what they want. That's what they're aiming for. Yeah, they want to be the Netflix of gaming. Which is, I mean, and here's the thing. Microsoft, Nvidia now, um, I want to say Xbox Arcade, but I don't know. I mean, Apple Arcade, but I haven't really tried it. But from what I've heard, those are the only three services that actually have an online gaming service that actually works. Oh, and Steam. We forgot the Titan in the room. Steam. Steam. So really, it's Steam. Yeah, Steam, Microsoft. But here's the thing: Steam is on like 200 million PCs. Xbox Game Pass is only on 10 billion, has 10 million subscribers. So really, Valve is the big dog in the market. So I mean, this is what Microsoft is going for. They want to get Xbox Game Pass. They want to get people subscribing to XCloud. They don't give a shit about how many units they sell, because at this point they've already acknowledged they aren't going to win any console generation ever. It's not going to happen. So at this point, they gave up, and now they're saying, well, we can have a subscription service. And don't be surprised if in the next few years, by the end of the next generation, Microsoft just says, we don't really have gaming devices anymore, but you can use our xCloud on any gaming device. I mean, don't be surprised if they pull a Stadia, but actually pull the shit off right. They don't Don Matrick it. I think they might do it. I mean, really, at this point, the way I feel about it is this: while I prefer physical media, um, you can't fight the future. So at this point, I just want someone to do it moderately right. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, someone has to do the shit right so that there's a template, so that the next iteration of this particular whatever it is better than the past one. You know what I'm saying? It's like Nintendo made a really good 3D platformer, which basically set the benchmark for other 3D platformers. So that basically, like, the roots of 3D platformers, modern 3D platformers, can be found in Super Mario 64. Someone needs to take that step as far as streaming gaming being a or games as a service. Yeah. And this doesn't mean people will stop buying games so that they can play them for as long as they want and physical media is going away. It just means that, for people who are cheap, for people who don't want to spend $60 per game, or, between $40 and $60 per game, they can spend like $10 a month or $120 a year and have access to a large library of games. Now, the only downside is Microsoft is going to have some real support for this subscription service, and that's going to be kind of a they're gonna have to support it. Well, they're gonna have to support it, and Microsoft. We all know how Microsoft is about supporting shit. Kanoshi, your thoughts? Well, I mean, at this point, I mean, I don't think they'll ever do as badly as Stadia. I think Stadia will be done by the end of this summer. I think Google will be like, yeah, that was we were just fucking with you. It was just sarcasm, folks. It was sarcasm. The entire Stadia was just a sarcastic event. We weren't serious, really. I swear we weren't. Yeah, I was just being sarcastic. Anyway, enough bullshit in there. Yeah, I was just being sarcastic. Yeah. So Evo has been canceled to no one's surprise. I don't think anyone was surprised by that. Like, I don't think anyone was like, "Man, can you believe Evo's been canceled?" No, not really. First of all, why wasn't Evo online in the first place? I mean, let's keep it real. We don't need, like, okay, unless you're playing, unless Evo was built around arcade machines, it doesn't make any sense for people, because at the end of the day, people are sitting in front of a television screen playing video games or a projector or whatever. They're not playing, or they're doing local area network play. They're not, like, doing real co-op like it was back in the day. So, or versus play. So why the fuck would you gather all those people in one place with COVID-19 going on and spend all this money to have people in an arena? Like, why? I don't get it. But that's my own personal opinion. Mm, yeah, but I mean, like, Evo is sponsored by Capcom and SNK and all these companies with all this technical know-how. So they have dedicated servers. You know what I mean? Like, they could literally rent a floor at a hotel, a nice hotel, rent the entire floor, have the contestants set up in there, and then have them, play against each other over LAN, and everyone gets their own room. They could do that. And just stream the shit and just record it and stream it. But whatever. Um. So Evo is canceled, and like I told one of our subscribers, look, I don't give a fuck about Evo. I really don't. I do not care about that. No, I don't. And I know some people are going to get mad when they hear it, but I don't care about Evo. I've never been into watching people play video games. Like, whenever I see someone playing a video game, like let's plays and people play competitively, like the whole time I'm watching them, like because half the time when I see people do a let's play, they're either playing very badly or I'm watching them and I'm like, man, they're playing so far beyond the skill level of the average gamer that it's not even worth watching. You know, I mean, it's not like professional football or basketball or boxing where it's like I could never do that, but it's entertaining to see the fight. It's like I don't even want to watch these people play because I mean, like I know I could get good enough to play in Evo or to do the Tetris World Championship. I could do that shit, no problem. I just don't care. I'm not like, oh my god, watching people play a video game. We need to put this, like I don't think people who play video games are on the same level as professional athletes. You know, I mean, because I just like okay. Let me put it this way: if someone can run 100 yards in under 40 seconds, like in football, right? They can run the 100 yards in under 40 seconds. That is, yeah, that's very impressive. Or is it like 30 seconds? Whatever. If they can do the 100 yard dash in under a certain amount of time, that's impressive. That's something that a lot of average people cannot do. Because these motherfuckers, like, these people aren't track stars. A lot of the football players now are like, these motherfuckers weigh 250 to 300 pounds. And that's just for a running back, okay? I'm not talking about the defensive lineman. These are some big, heavy ass motherfuckers, okay? And to haul that amount of weight around to sprint for 100 yards under a certain amount of time, that's impressive. You watch someone play a video game, anyone who can sit their ass down and has muscle memory can get their skills to that level. So it's not impressive to me. Um, show me some shit that no one else can do, and then I'm impressed. But I mean, like, just people just doing the shit. Now I'm like, I'm not. It's not impressive to me. Um, but whatever. So basically, Sony says it knows who leaked The Last of Us Part 2. They say it was an outside party. I don't know. I don't really give a shit. I just don't care. Because Sony fanboys will. Let me put it this way: Sony fanboys are like this. Yeah, but a lot of them, like, here's the thing: Sony passes out a lot of money to these websites for advertisement. So these people are worried about their paycheck. Okay, and here's the thing: people who are worried about their paycheck, I can understand it. But these Sony fanboys who they get nothing out of Sony except they play a damn video game. Look, these people are so fanboyish. If Sony broke in their house and took a shit in front of them on their kitchen table, they'd be like, "Yeah, Sony." My point is, Sony can do no wrong. So yeah, Sony. I really don't give a shit about The Last of Us Part 2 or The Last of Us Part 1 or Naughty Dog for that matter. Cuz it's like playing a movie And people who don't, people like a lot of gamers, a lot of modern gamers don't really give a shit. Like gameplay for them, they don't want challenging gameplay. They want to be able to just play the game with a little bit of gameplay and a lot of story. Which we had those back in the day. They were called FMV games. Basically, these Naughty Dog type, The Last of Us, Uncharted, The Last of Us Part Two, uh, you know, uh, Detroit Become Human. Like these games are the evolution of what I thought was one of the shittiest uh, generations of games, which were those FMV full motion video. Oh, we don't have to actually have gameplay. We'll just show you a movie. I mean, unfortunately, I'm someone who prefers gameplay over, you know, yeah, I prefer gameplay over movies. So I know some people are going to get mad at me when they hear that. They're going to be like, "How dare you, sir?" But that's how I feel. What are your thoughts, Kanoshi? Yeah, I gotta agree. I mean, like, here's the thing. The thing is that I don't know who did it. I don't really care who did it. Like, here's the thing. This wouldn't have happened had these people been happy. Like if you keep your employees happy, exactly. Well, I mean, all I'm going to say is this. If you keep your employees, like, okay, in business, there's a saying that your employees can take you down faster than having an inferior product. Um, Competition. Like bad employees can drag you down. Now, I mean, they say that this wasn't an employee, but like, here's the thing: the information is too integral to what's going on for it not to have been someone who either was an employee or associated with an employee. You get what I'm saying? Like you don't get information like this just from like a hack. Either that or it was a hack. And we all know Sony is notoriously open to hacks. So, it is what it is. So that being said, anyone have anything else they want to say before we move on to the next topic? Eh, I would say the first half of their life they were decent. I'd say Crash Bandicoot. I personally don't like it, but a lot of people do. I would say Jack and Daxter was pretty good. I would say Uncharted was pretty good, depending on what type of gamer you are. I would say basically by the end of Uncharted, when they started going full on we're going to focus on story over gameplay. That's when Naughty Dog started going down the deep end. Because here's the thing: you make video games and you're not focusing on the gameplay, you're focusing on story and storytelling. Then you might as well just fucking make movies like Hideo Kojima is. You know? But hey, what do I know? Um, we won't cover the comics or the movies. Okay, XCOM. Yeah. Well, basically, essentially speaking, XCOM. The XCOM formerly used to be all about like you was it was in phases. So you had your phase where you could move your units around and then set up overwatches and attack enemies. And then once you ended your phase, it was the enemy's turn, right? And if you like, so basically, if you set up someone with a Gatling gun to be Overwatch, right, to Overwatch a doorway, and an enemy came through that doorway, they would mow that motherfucker down with the chain with the Gatling gun. So it kind of encouraged you to think strategically when you were placing units and stuff like that. So sometimes, yeah, it's like, yeah, I put this guy in this doorway so that he could take down like 4 or 5 enemies with his attacks, but by the end of the phase, the enemies can flank his ass and take him out. And since XCOM had permadeath, that meant you lost that unit. So, I mean, it really kind of forced you to be very strategic. In Chimera Squad, which I bought, I don't know how it plays because I haven't played it yet, but I bought it. Apparently, the turn order is a little bit different. Apparently, in Chimera Squad, it's got enter leaves turn, so it's based on your initiative. You know, so basically, the higher your initiative, the sooner you move. Essentially speaking. Um, so apparently it was a big thing because everyone was against it, and even Sid Meier. For those of you who don't know, he's one of the forefathers of grand strategy games. He's the guy who created Civilization. Even he was like, "Man, I don't know if this is gonna work," but then apparently it works in the game. I don't know. I'm just telling you. If even Sid, like basically Sid Meier is the Shigeru Miyamoto of historical based strategy games. So so there you go. Uh, guess we can keep it moving, keep it moving. So our next story is story from before. Elder Scrolls 6. Ah. Um so what do you guys want from this apparent game that won't come out until 2024 25? For anyone who might care. I don't know. I know you guys aren't really into Elder Scrolls, so what do you guys want from the next Elder Scrolls game if you want anything? If not for yourselves, for gamers who might be into the series. I'll let have combat be fun. Um, I mean, how can I put this? I mean, I mean, I'll keep it real. I do think that. I do think that I mean personally I think the combat is kind of fun. I mean it's not great. I'm not gonna lie. It's not great. It's not the best shit ever, but it's not terrible. I think one of the main problems with the Elder Scrolls series is just the combat is just really really boring. Um, like unless you mod it up, like it's basic as fuck. You know what I mean? The combat is basic as fuck. Like because and like different builds are rendered useless because they're not useful in combat. Like being a magic user, I mean, let's use the latest game, which was Skyrim. Being a magic user is great until you hit around level 30 in that game. Once you hit level 30, enemies like your magic, even if you get the most powerful magic spells in the game, your magic basically does negligible amounts of damage to enemies. Even if you have a build that's built around doing massive damage with your weapons, nothing. I mean, with your magic spells. Basically, Elder Scrolls Skyrim lends itself to you either being a sneaky bastard and going around backstabbing enemies with daggers, or hitting enemies with bow and arrows to do massive amounts of damage while sneaking. And so basically, like combat gets really boring when you can't like every type of build should be effective. Like even if you're someone who focused, like you're a merchant prince or princess who basically makes deals, you should be able to talk someone like, "Hey, I'll pay you 100 gold if you turn on your friends and murder them for me." And your speechcraft is high enough that they'll do it. Like that should be a viable play style, and yet you don't get that in Elder Scrolls games. It would be interesting to play an Elder Scrolls game where you can actually get on a horse and ride it and it doesn't feel like you're about to puke. It would be interesting to play an Elder Scrolls game where it doesn't have an engine that basically looks like it's about to fall in on itself. If you know what I'm talking about, it would be interesting to play an Elder Scrolls game where basic physics um, that the game can actually look good while also being functional. Because Elder Scrolls is not that. Skyrim was not that. Oblivion was not that. I mean, basically, and most importantly, it would be nice to have an Elder Scrolls game that isn't a broken piece of shit at launch. I mean, could we get an Elder Scrolls game that isn't broken? Can we get that? You know, I mean, as a thing, can a brother get a hookup? can a brother can a brother get a hookup and not have a game that looks like it's a like can we actually get DLC that adds something substantive to what's going on? Can we get races that actually feel different from each other? Can we get can we bring back classes so people can role play and have the classes actually be useful? Like if you're an alchemist, you shouldn't just I'm good at making potions. An alchemist should be able to mix potions and then throw that shit and blow people the fuck up, like in Shovel Knight with Plague Knight. You know, I'm just saying, like there's, I mean, it's not even variety. It's just stop being annoying. Here you go, folks. I got some news for you. Here's some news for you. If you own Steam, you can pay $49.84 and get the Square Enix Stay Home and Play JRPG collection. And here's the games you can get. You can get Dragon Quest XI. Shit. You can get Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age. That's actually pretty good. You can get Chrono Trigger. Uh, Chrono Trigger is good, but it's the one that's based off of the DS version, and the DS version adds. The game itself is not bad, but they add extra content to it, connecting it to the abomination that is Chrono Cross, and that's what brings it down for me. Because Chrono Cross is shit, and you connecting a great game to shit kind of lowers that game. It's like think of it like this, okay? I I I gotta disagree with you because basically Chrono Cross is like a classic, ultra awesome mansion, right? But Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross is the septic tank underneath the mansion, and basically it backed up and flooded the mansion, and that's what the DS version is. The house is still nice, but they connected it to that septic tank that backed up, and now the house has kind of got that floor that's been flooded. That human waste has gotten into the mansion because Chrono Cross is trash. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel. It's like I'm the guy who's like, hey man, don't connect that fucked up septic tank to the mansion. It's fine by itself. No, we need the septic tank. Well, why can't we connect it to the main line to the sewer? No, we use the septic tank, but the septic tank's fucked up. No, we're gonna connect it. I'm like personally, I would have preferred if Chrono Trigger DS had just been a port, maybe with better graphics of the SNES game. Like, why add all that shit trying to add it to an inferior game? That's what bothers me. That's my only real gripe with that game is that they added shit to it. Final Fantasy what? You keep Yeah, but I mean most RPGs on mobile are trash. It's not really like I'm not really I'm not dissuading you about that. But Chrono Trigger is one of the best RPGs ever created. So, you know, them adding that to one of the not one of the arguably worst RPGs ever created kind of hurts. It's like basically it's kind of like how Square Enix made Final Fantasy IV the after years, and it's clearly inferior to Final Fantasy IV. They're like, well, we can connect it. No, don't do that. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't like that either. Like I don't like Final Fantasy IV the after years. I think it's shit. And the fact, which is why I just ignore that exists. I'm like, oh, there's no Final Fantasy IV the after years. It doesn't exist. Just like there is no Indiana Jones 4. Just like Sega fans pretend that Sonic 06 doesn't exist. So exactly, which is what I do. Like when people are like, "Yeah, I played Final Fantasy." Oh, so you played it on the SNES or through emulator? No, I played it on the DS. What DS version? I know nothing of this DS you speak of. Does that mean Donkey Kong 64? Hmm? Yeah, but Square Enix has been pretty shit for years, though, with their mobile games. The graphics are shit. The graphics are shit. The handling is bad. Um, they basically added shit to make it more streamlined. Which I mean, I hate to say this. I know that I'm going to sound like old man cranky, but I like games that make you work for it. I don't, especially RPGs. I don't like uh, just in general. We're talking RPGs, but in general, I like RPGs that make you work for it. I mean, that's what makes an RPG worthwhile. Is in the beginning of the game they kind of kick your ass, but then you start getting used to the gameplay system, and then you like the laws and rules of the game. Once you figure them out, you learn how to bend it and make it your bitch. That's the fun of an RPG is figuring out how to break and how to bend the rules and make the game your bitch, right? Like, okay, Chrono Trigger. Here's a hack for people who might not know. Chrono in Chrono Trigger is the fastest character in the game, and he also has a very high critical hit rate. So basically, towards the end of the game, you can find a item in this part of I forget where it is, but you can find this special item um, using one of those chests that you have to open using Shayla's pendant, aka Marl's pendant. And basically, you can choose either the haste helm or this vest that increases your defense. One increases your offense, your speed, and the other one increases your defense. Yeah, if you give the haste helm to Chrono, basically what happens is his speed goes so high that he basically just can attack and attack and attack and attack and attack and attack and attack. But if you also give him, yeah, but if you also give him the Aeon blade, which is like his most powerful weapon in the game, which its crit rate is insanely high, and his natural crit, what? Yeah, yeah, the rainbow sword, like basically with the Aeon shell, you can either make a rainbow sword or like a radiant dress and some radiant helms. Make the rainbow sword in the shades, because basically, if you give him the rainbow sword, his crit rate goes insane, and basically against enemies that don't have a particular defense against physical attacks, Chrono just slices the shit out of all of them. I mean, it's insane. Basically, yeah, yeah. He slices, he dices. It's Chrono. It's Chrono. Or alternatively, you can give the haste helm to Frog, which is what I do. And basically, if you have Frog and Isla in your party, you can heal the shit out of everybody anytime you want to because they know the dual tech slurp kiss, which basically is like a super heal, and it heals the entire group. Um, have Chrono go to town on your enemies, and then basically have Frog and Isla heal, and you're good. Um, that's how I basically kick Lavos's ass the first run I do in Chrono Trigger. Now after that, once you get your characters up to a certain level, then you can start messing around like having an all dark. Yeah, new game plus you can have like what I like to do is I'll have a party of Luca, Magus, and Robo, so that they can just use Dark Shadow Magic against Lavos. Even though Dark Shadow Magic heals part of them, but it's just fun. It's fun. It's fun. So, uh, I mean, once you get their triple tech Shadow Flare, like I forget where you get it, but once you get the triple tech Shadow Flare, basically, and you fight the Lavos parasites, you can nuke the Lavos parasites with Shadow Flare because their eye isn't invulnerable to it doesn't absorb shadow magic. So it kills the eye, but the body absorbs it and is healed. But all you have to do is kill the eye, and that kills them. That's how you figure out the weakness of Lavos in the future when you fight those Lavos parasites. Sorry, Lavos larva. Um, yeah, yeah. Hint. hint, hint, Square Enix. If you want to learn how to make good JRPGs again, force all of your developers to play through Chrono Trigger. Just make them play through Chrono Trigger. They will learn how to make a good JRPG again. Because God knows they can't fucking do it now. Not everyone. The Silicon Studios, the ones who made Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default and Bravely Second, they're pretty good. But the rest of your developers, especially your Final Fantasy developers, trash. Basically. Either that or make them play through the original Hironobu Sakaguchi Final Fantasy, so Final Fantasies 1 through 10. Um, Not all of them. Like, you could break it up. Like, have some people play through Final Fantasies 1 through 3, 4 through 6, 7 through 10, and then consolidate what they learned from each of those trilogies, what worked, what didn't work, and then make it into a into the Square Enix JRPG Bible. Because most everything after that is trash from you guys. It's fucking trash. Okay, except Final Fantasy 12, but it's not a Final Fantasy game. It's a Final Fantasy Tactics game. Um, what Final Fantasy 12? Oh, you mean the remake? Well, I mean the remake is fine, but it's not Final Fantasy 7. It's not even a reimagining. It's just not really. It's not Final Fantasy. I mean, I'm okay with it. It's just not. Some shit's just not what it is, and it's not Final Fantasy. Oh well. So with that being said, let's keep it moving. Oh, that's right. So basically, you get several games. The last one, of course, being Oninaki, but no one gives a shit about Oninaki. They're that development house that Square Enix was trying to pimp out, where they're like, well, the guy who's the head of it worked on Chrono Trigger. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Well, the thing is like they're trying to say that this guy, like, here's the thing, okay? Just because you have one guy who worked on one of the greatest movies of one of the greatest video games of all time doesn't mean that he's the magic ingredient that made that great. Chrono Trigger is great because you had a lot of legendary video game designers and developers coming together, and everyone brought their A game. Hironobu Sakaguchi brought his A game. Yuji Horii and the Dragon Quest people brought their A game. Akira Toriyama and his studio brought their A game. The guy who did the music brought his A game. Like, everyone was on their A game. It was like the perfect storm. It's like Super Mario RPG. You will never get a Super Mario RPG like Super Mario RPG. Even Paper Mario, the good ones. Like, I love Thousand Year Door. Thousand Year Door is not as good as Super Mario RPG. It's a good game. It's close, but it's not. It's no. It's not even close. It's you know, like if like Super Mario RPG is like a 95. Uh, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is like an 85. It's a great game, but it's not it's not Super Mario RPG good. Um, so I know some people are going to get mad at that. How dare you, sir? And I know some people are going to get mad at me because they don't like hearing that, but Super Mario RPG is, I mean, it's really good because basically you had Nintendo at their best, adding to arguably one of the best RPG studios at their best. I mean, it's really like when you have people coming doing their best, it's awesome. but that's just me. So with that being said, uh, I guess it's time to tell you my stories from the X2, which I promised I'd tell you. I was saving it. So yeah. So which story do you want to hear first? You want to hear the time that this homeless dude held the entire bus hostage, or do you want to hear um, or do you want to hear about Big Bertha? All right. So this was I was taking the X2 to get to Chinatown, to the Chinatown Metro, so I could take the Metro home. And so basically, in order to get there across from town, the best way to do it was taking the bus. So I took the X2. So I'm sitting on the X2, and this lady is sitting there arguing with her boyfriend. And she's sitting near the front of the bus, and her boyfriend's sitting there, and he's just taking it. And she is tearing his ass down like only a sister can. I mean, she is talking shit and tearing his ass down. She's like, "Yeah, you can't handle this. You can't handle this, Negro." And when I say Negro, she didn't say Negro. You can't handle this, Negro. You can't handle this right here. You can't handle all of this. And she was just tearing this poor son of a bitch down. I mean, it was. I almost felt sorry for him. I'm like, why is he? Because she looked normal. Like she looked kind of. She looked like from the top up. She looked like a young kind. Well, not young, but Shaka Khan after she lost weight, right? And then their stop came up, and she stood up. And when she stood up, I kind of figured out why he couldn't handle her. Cause god damn, this woman had ass for days. This woman's ass, like literally, I'm not a small man, but if you took me and twinned me, and we stood together and put our asses together, it still would not equal the size of one of this woman's butt cheeks. This woman's ass was humongous. She was so big that I was like, dude, god damn. Like, if you slapped her ass, it would keep on shaking like 5 minutes afterwards. It'd still be jiggling. You know, like that, like in The Simpsons where they're like, we're gonna see the fat test, and they started shaking. He punched him in the stomach, and his fat was wobbling and wobbling and wobbling. Like, this woman's ass was like that, right? And but only her ass, like from the waist up, she looked normal, but that ass though. The only way I could describe her is anyone played South Park, The Fractured Butthole? Well, anyone seen the boss fight against Spontaneous Butte? Imagine an ass like that, but the upper part is normal, but the ass is banging. Except not banging, like her ass looked deformed, but it wasn't. She just had a really fat ass. Like, it was like, god damn. Like, her ass was so big that I was like, I don't understand. I don't know how this woman wipes her own ass. I'm pretty sure she goes through an entire roll to wipe her ass because it's that big. Like, I'm pretty sure she has to call for paramedics every time she has to wipe her ass. Um, yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah. Like, here's the thing, people. It's not that I like picking on fat people, but when your ass is so big that it basically has it, like when you have to file your taxes, you have to file your ass as a dependent. Like, I gotta say something. And I'm not a small look. Listen, I've been losing weight over the last year and a half, so I'm not as big as I used to be. But like, even when I was big, I wasn't that fucking big. But anyway, yeah, Big Bertha was tearing this poor bastard down, and she like when she got up, I was like, God damn. But I mean, here's the thing. At the time, I was this was years ago. I was working. I was doing my. I did 2 years of service in AmeriCorps. So this was my first year doing service, and so I couldn't say anything because I was in uniform. And I'm like, but in my head, I'm like, God damn. Like, and she gets off, and like, I swear, like, she walked off, and we just, like, he looked at us, and we were like, I'm not saying shit, bruh. Like, I'm not saying anything. Like, we didn't even look at him. And he got off the bus, and we just looked at each other, and we were like, shit. And then my stop was the next stop, and I got off, and I was like, man, I'm going home. I'm never going to forget this shit. And I haven't. 8 years later, I still remember that. Um, yeah. So my next story is about the time we were held hostage by a drunk guy. So basically, once again, this is no, he didn't have a weapon. Well, he had a weapon. It was a biological weapon. So basically, this we were on the X2 once again because these are tales from the X2. We were on the X2, and basically, the X2 goes um, from northeast to southeast in Washington D.C. D.C. is divided up into quadrants: northeast, southeast, northwest, southwest. Although southwest is kind of cut off because Virginia, when DC was formed, got mad and took back some of their land in order to form the four quadrants of Washington D.C. So, like a part of Northern Virginia is basically it feels like DC because it used to be DC. So anyway, so I was no. So basically, the X2 goes from northeast to southeast, and in southeast DC, there's like an accredited school for the deaf called Gallaudet University, where people are deaf. They cannot hear, but they speak in sign language and stuff like that. So basically, this is the reason I'm telling you this will become relevant very soon. So essentially, we were sitting on the train going someplace. I forget where it was. I think we were going to go to give a speech to trying to get college students to sign up for City Year or something like that. But anyway, so we're sitting here, on the train, on the bus, and this homeless guy gets on the bus. And like, not only was he homeless, but apparently, he was disturbed because he had pissed on himself. And you might ask, how did we know he pissed on himself? Because we could smell it. And not only had he pissed on himself, but he was also a drunkard. How do we know? Because we could smell it. Now, imagine the smell. Imagine someone who was very drunk or had been very drunk and pissed on themselves, but sobered up enough to go to the liquor store to get more alcohol. So basically, that's essentially what this gentleman was doing. And basically, people, like, he kept on saying after stop, after stop, after stop, yeah, man, I'm going to get off on the next one. We were like, and we couldn't say anything. But in our heads, like, please get the fuck off this bus, man. Because that's, and here's the thing. This was in DC where we weren't near a river. It was one of the hottest years on record. The bus windows could not close down. It was hot. The air conditioning was busted. So it's hot. There's no air. And you have a motherfucker on the bus smelling like whiskey and piss. All right. And I mean old man piss. So it's all ammoniated and shit. So he's sitting there holding us hostage. And it's like, God damn. He's like, yeah, I'm going to get off on the next one. I'm like, Jesus, please get the fuck off this bus. I was like, in my head, like, we couldn't say it, because I was in uniform at the time. So he keeps on saying, yeah, I'm going to get off. He's like, I'm going to get off. Like, I'm going to get off on the next one. We're like, please, Jesus, get the fuck off this bus, you stinking motherfucker. So anyway, this dude is just, he is banging, right? And like 4 or 5 stops pass, and every time he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get off on this one. Now, meanwhile, while we were on the bus, these two deaf Gallaudet students are there, and they're signing to each other. Now, I do not speak sign language. I am not. I am not good at. I don't know American Sign Language, but through my ability to empathize and understand reading the situation, I just know these two very attractive deaf girls are talking shit about this stinking ass motherfucker on the bus, and he had the nerve to hit on them and flirt with them, smelling like piss and whiskey. And in my head, well, in my head, no, no, look, listen. A lot of people they knew he was flirting with them, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, look, motherfucker, these girls are deaf. It's not like they lost their sense of smell. Look, they can't hear. They can smell just fine, you stinking son of a bitch. But anyway, so this stinking bastard finally gets off the bus, and we all look at each other. And this one dude looks at us and he says, "God damn, he was holding us hostage." I was like, "Yeah." Well, I was like, "Yeah, he was." And he didn't have a weapon at all. Or maybe he did, a biological weapon, sir. And he was like, "Yeah." We all shared a laugh once we could roll down the window and get some air in there to air that motherfucker out. Anyway, these were just two tales of the X2 where shit got fucked up. So with that being said, you know, you guys have any questions? Any oh, I can't believe that shit. What, the dude pissed on himself? Well, I mean, look, listen, I don't know. Maybe someone pissed on him, but I mean, I do. I could tell you the story of the young lady with the baby who was feeding the baby, who basically had the bottle and put in the baby's bottle instead of milk or water or juice, orange soda. Yeah. No, it was not. It was not a good idea. No, they shouldn't, but they do. The biological imperative and all that jazz. But anyway, um, anything else you guys want to go over? Any other topics you guys want to bring up? Any free topics? Anything you guys want to rant about? Get off your chest. That's a fair point. I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons that I like the animes that are more like, I mean, it's nice getting into anime. I mean, like, here's the thing. I don't mind character development if you're going to develop all the characters. I mean, which is why, even though I think One Piece has too many episodes, like, every character gets their time to shine in One Piece. Even the lower tier characters get their chance to be badasses. Whereas you look at something like Dragon Ball Z, it becomes the Saiyan Power Hour. Like, no one else is allowed to be cool unless you're a Saiyan in Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, it is, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Dragon Ball Z is better than Bleach. I mean, yeah, but Bleach is really Ichigo's story. Like there are other cool characters in Bleach, but really it's his story. I get it. I'm just saying. But that's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. I know some people get mad when they hear that. How dare you, sir? But yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. Like I said, I like my favorite animes at this point. Like, I mean, I know people are gonna get mad at me. I like One Piece. Um, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I like the fact that every character has their moment to shine, and every character has an interesting backstory, except for Luffy. Luffy's the only one who doesn't have an interesting backstory. Yeah, Luffy. Luffy's the only one who doesn't have an interesting backstory. Every other character has an interesting backstory except for Luffy. Like Sanji has an interesting backstory. Robin has an interesting backstory. Frankie has an interesting backstory. Usopp has an interesting backstory. Zoro has an interesting backstory. Nami has an interesting backstory. Everyone else is cool. Shanks, like everyone else is. Luffy's just like, I ate the devil fruit. I want to be a pirate. Yeah. He's like, hey, I just want to be a pirate. Yay! I mean, I'm pretty sure as the series goes on and once they start to bring everything to its conclusion and they finally find out what the gold, what One Piece truly is, they'll come up with some interesting story. But thus far, I have to give it up to the guy who created One Piece. One Piece has not fallen into the Naruto hole. The what? Well, I mean, no, well, the problem with Naruto is that basically, like, Naruto was really at its best when they were kids. Um, and then the first third of the Shippuden arc, it was still kind of good. And then basically, characters got so fucking powerful in Shippuden that even if the main characters powered up, they wouldn't be able to do anything. And also, and I stand by this, the ending of Shippuden, where Naruto and like Naruto's like and Sasuke and the power of friendship. It's like, no, that's not the point of being a ninja. Ninjas are fucking assassins and spies. And it's about being a ninja is about making sacrifices for the greater good of your village. So really, it would have made sense. And Naruto's like, yeah, I want to be the Hokage. Well, Sasuke's got to die. I mean, sorry. No, because the thing is like Sasuke, like his family that was killed by his brother Itachi. Not what was his name? Itachi. Itachi, like he basically wanted to destroy the village of the Hidden Leaf. So basically, like the only person in that fucking family who actually did their job was Itachi. The rest of them are traitors and they need to die. I'm sorry. That's I mean that's the rules of the village. Okay, personally, like I said, it should have been this epic battle where Naruto's like, "Look, man, you were my friend. I still consider you my friend, but you broke the rules and you got to pay for it." Dims the brakes. That's your ass. No, 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 like prisoner. Like, okay, it's like Orochimaru. You wouldn't take Orochimaru prisoner. You'd have to kill him. You can't take him back and have him on trial because he's done too much fucked up shit and he's too powerful. You just got to kill his ass. And just like Sasuke, he's done too much fucked up shit. He's got to die. Because remember, look, in Naruto, the ninja, the world they live in is war torn and fucked up. It's not like everyone gets a fair trial. It's like once you've done so much fucked up shit, you're not bring you in as a prisoner. You're kill on sight. And Sasuke was at that point for the village of the Hidden Leaf. He had to die. No, I mean it would have been fitting to have Naruto and Sasuke fight, and Naruto just killed his ass. That I mean, maybe be sad about it. I'm sorry I had to do it, but fuck you. Had to go. But you're like, oh no, the power of friendship, and from left field too. That's the thing. We're friends. It's like, come on, man, fuck this. Even the ending was trash. We're the reincarnated brothers. It's like, come on, get the fuck out of here with this shit. Like literally, the guy who made that story reached so far up his own ass that yeah, because they kept on escalating. They kept on escalating his fucking power level so that he couldn't be. Because here's the thing. Here's what they initially were leading up to. From what they were basically the lead up to all of it was going to be Naruto was going to fuse fully with the nine-tailed demon fox, and basically because essentially what they were leading up to before they fucked it up by basically making Madara all powerful, up to a point, was that basically like each of the tailed uh, uh, each of the tailed monster, each of the tailed demon beasts, like the more tails they had, the more powerful they were. But their power rose exponentially, not geometrically. So, like Naruto's nine-tailed demon fox was supposed to be special because it could actually have more than nine tails, according to the actual lore of Kyuubi in Japanese mythology, which would have been his power level, and that would have explained like how he was going to be powerful enough. But they kept on making Madara such a threat that no matter how powerful he made, he couldn't defeat him. So they had to do that. Well, we have to pull a MacGuffin out of our ass in order to create a different villain. It's like, come on, man, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Yeah, because they had to make something. They had to make a big bad that they would join their powers together to defeat. And it like how it was done was so lazy and half-assed. Well, I mean, they pulled it from out of anywhere, or even better, they're like, and we're gonna do another show, but it's about Naruto's son. I'm like, why don't we do a show? Why don't we do a manga about Rock Lee? Because Rock Lee's way more interesting than Naruto as a character. A ninja who can't use ninjutsu. He has to use a completely different art style. That's fucking awesome as shit. All Rock Lee has is his weight training and his taijutsu. But his taijutsu can fuck up people. I mean, you saw what his master did to Madara Uchiha. Like Madara Uchiha was fucking up everybody, and finally his master was like, "You know what? This is gonna kill me, but I'm gonna show you just how badass this style truly is." He fucked up Madara Uchiha. Like Madara Uchiha was like, "Man, I thought I was bad, but shit, I ain't shit." Man, that Sharingan I ain't shit. Sharingan what? Sharingan my ass. Yeah, the ultimate art style, my fist to your face. That was he beat the shit out of him. He like literally that ass whooping that Rock Lee's master put on that dude was so hilarious. I was like, God damn. I mean, yeah, he died in the process. Yeah, uh, uh, guy, but Jesus Christ, that was an ass whooping. It was epic. It was basically a better version of that ass whooping that Rock Lee put on Gara. Except to a completely different level. But that's the whole point of being a ninja is that you sacrifice yourself for the greater whole, which is why the whole point of yeah, grade A ass whooping. That's what Mike Guy landed on Gara. Sorry, Madara Uchiha. Fucking asshole. Anyway, I think we've hit the end of the podcast. Anything you guys want to pimp out before we wrap things up? Soul Eater. All right, I'll take your word for it. Um, Jewel, anything you want to pimp out? Yes, you can. I don't have it all in front of me because basically uh, I'm using my other PC and I don't have all that shit on hand. But anyway, you can reach me if you really want to get in touch with me. You can reach me at Mr. Red Fox BSBuster at gmail.com. At Twitter, what? Yeah, it goes boo whoop. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting little aside. I'm like, I don't think Namco Bandai had anything to do with this, but I like it. I mean, it's a good game. It's not the best game I ever played, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Pretty good. But with that being said, that's in the podcast. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. You can reach me once again at Mr. Red Fox BSBuster at gmail.com. That's all lowercase. And at Twitter at Matthew Wesley 91 at Matthew Wesley at Mr. Red Fox 91 on Twitter. We also have a Discord server. It's in in the description under the video. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Um, Enjoy. Yeah, yeah. Please wash your hands. And also, yeah, that's correct. And May 4th is coming up. Uh, so since we won't be doing a podcast May 4th, I'll say it now. Fuck Star Wars as it is right now under Disney. Fuck Disney Star Wars. There you go. Good night.